Hi, welcome to Smokin with Swami. Today I have special guests Josh and Kelly, and we're going to be talking about their Dragonfly Earth Medicine certification. What is it exactly you call it? The
Pure certification.
Pure certification, P-U-R-E.
Yep.
And this is your logo, is that right?
Yep.
I don't know if you can see that very, it's kind of small, but that's, everybody's getting a logo these days. It's a beautiful one, right?
Well, the dragonflies are mystical and,
Well, let's
we
start
really
off
like
talking
them.
about the dragonfly. I don't know, how is the dragonfly mystical?
Well, the dragonfly lives in the water, and it has to have pure water to live in. It
Really?
can
I
have
thought it was in
contaminated
swamps. Really?
water. It could be in swampy water, but the water still has to be uncontaminated.
Oh, by petroleum and that kind of
Yeah,
chemistry.
just any kind of anything chemically
Uh-huh.
and they live as nymphs in the water for many, many years.
A nymph.
And then they
And they're
swim
eating,
around and
they're
they're
eating water. They're in water
bugs.
world.
There's this thing skating on the water? No.
No.
In the water,
They're in the
swimming,
water.
submerged.
And what do
Yeah.
they look like?
like
They
little
have a
nymphs.
little dragonfly body. You'd have to look it up. It's hard
Okay.
to explain.
And they
All right,
but they have
swim.
but they're
little-
nymphs, huh?
They're
I always
swimmers.
think a nymph is a beautiful girl dancing through the forest, but this is a water
Well,
nymph.
there's those two.
Yeah.
So
No,
that
okay,
there's
okay.
there's more
Yeah,
than
yeah,
one
yeah.
nymph.
All right.
But
So then
That's
they
another
transform it
conversation.
into dragonflies?
yeah, they slowly crawl up onto the. When we've watched this happen before, come up onto the side of, say, a lake or a water swamp, and they just unfold their wings, just dry them out like shh, and they just fly
away.
Wow, this is really tasty.
Yeah,
So the first one, well, we smoked another one called
We went-
Hindu, but this is Hindu Kush.
yeah,
Yeah.
All
that's
right,
it.
wow.
Awesome.
So, yeah, really. So anyway, so now these dragonflies fly away, and why are they mystical? Because they trace human evolution, or what is the mystical
They're
part?
everywhere. They're on every continent. They're up in the very cold. They're at the equator in the warmth.
They
They're
fly
up at
forwards,
high altitudes.
backwards, up, down.
Oh, they're helicopter
sideways.
kind of
Yeah, and they capture their prey in the air and eat them and then just drop their carcasses and then go on to the next one.
Which is quite vicious.
So they're
and amazing,
vigorous.
Right,
but,
They're
vigorous
vigorous
and vicious.
beneficials.
And there are many different colors, right?
So many colors and everywhere you go, you
Sizes.
see
Why are
them.
they beneficials?
Because they eat a lot of different animals and insects that are maybe in the air. And they
That
keep
could
it
eat your
at a
plants.
nice balance.
I see.
And they also
Yeah.
signal a healthy environment.
Yeah, and you'll
Which
notice
is
that if they get into your greenhouse, often a lot of them will become intelligent with your greenhouses, and they'll fly into your greenhouses and they'll eat all of the flies in the greenhouses, and maybe they'll spend 2 hours in the afternoon eating them all up,
Wow.
and then by morning they're all gone.
It's also
and
aware.
Which is- which
It's
is why
also
we're-
aware.
Which is why we're careful
Yeah.
about what we spray on our plants.
Yeah.
We want to have a healthy leaf structure for
yeah, right. Exactly.
for those kind of insects and bees and different things that land on the
Right,
plant.
amazing.
So,
Wow.
Yeah.
So okay, so now how did you start with this pure classification for? It's a certification,
yeah,
right?
the purpose, the
It's a
original.
recognition and a certification. It goes beyond just a certification. It's not
I
just
thought of this word maybe used it for authenticate.
Yeah, maybe. Well, it goes beyond just a certification. Like, oh, you have to check off these
Right.
things, and you can only use these inputs. The ideology and the idea is that it focuses on the practices, and it focuses on the technologies that you're using and what you're bringing into your farm and what you're keeping on your farm. So it's really focused in a
and the end
closed loop.
product and the energy that goes into whatever you're making. So
Yeah, from the beginning all the way through to the end, to the
And-
consumer.
and it's also to create an earth-based, focus rather than an FDA focus, rather than to go, look to the USDA or to the NOP to create the structure that we're looking for to make us think that that's
Right.
good enough. So we wanted to go beyond that,
So we're talking first and foremost about living soil.
Yeah.
And that's the way to go about
Yeah.
getting living soil. But the second part is making that soil come alive using things from your own land as much as
Yes.
possible.
That's the
That's
only way
ideal.
you know exactly what it is.
Then you're creating a biological intelligence with your own
'Cause
property or
stuff's
your
already
own
there.
facility. You're not bringing anything in. You're either cultivating your biomass or you're wildcrafting sustainably and, regeneratively.
Because up here a lot of times it's like, we call it bags of soil in, bags of weed out, but the soil was coming from who knows where.
Right.
I actually, some of my earliest gardens, I used bag soil, but now I'm lucky enough that I have my own terroir, the own actual soil from Turtle Creek, which we're then culturing.
Continuing to build
again with our own leaves. And we're talking about growing what? Alfalfa out there to go on, and comfrey.
And the purpose of leaves is
nettles.
to catch bacteria and to catch sunlight. So you're just kind of, in a way, culturing.
Wait, the leaves capture bacteria? What do you mean by that?
Yeah. The purpose of a leaf is to catch sunlight and to photosynthesize, but also to catch bacteria.
The leaf that's on the tree.
Yeah, any leaf surface has a whole different.
And what do these bacteria do? Because there's good bacteria and bad bacteria.
Well, they protect the leaves, because then a healthy plant is a prebiotic for a certain type of bacteria that's floating around in the air. So it draws to it when it's healthy. If it's not healthy, it's going to draw the pathogenics that are in the air.
Or it's going to have holes in that structure which allow pathogens to get into. But with a clean leaf surface and the right pheromones and the right attractants, you're going to be able to attract the right kind of yeast. Wild yeast. I mean, you make sourdough by putting out grapes and water because it's sweet and it's attracting wild airborne bacteria. If you make a opened fermentation outside with your own weeds, you're attracting yeast. You're almost making your own sourdough.
So what you're telling me is that yeast and bacteria is conscious.
Yeah, it's flying around.
Right? And it's smelling or looking for this stuff.
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
And it's eating things on the leaves like dust.
We have
and
a
it helps the
continuum of
plants.
consciousness.
Yeah.
From the smallest
it's that
little
different layer.
Yeah.
And that's part of the pure certification, is to keep that whole thing in mind, and make sure that, we're feeding the earth, because we're talking about mass extinctions coming up soon, and we're talking
coming up soon.
We're talking about diversity, and why just buy one tomato plant? Why just have one kind of ganja plant? Why not have a diversity of different plants and continue to cultivate diversity? And
part of the pure certification is just basic things. You have to have a bee garden. You have to have food that's growing on your property. And these are things that is creating a lifestyle. And we feel like it's creating a higher consciousness in honor of this incredible master cannabis plant.
Right.
So because there isn't a certification out there that we feel is much more beyond the word organic, we just decided that we wanted to create one, and we wanted it to go out to the community. It's a community certification so that community members can become educators for their own community.
The people that we have on right now are amazing people, and they educate, and they're in their own right. They've made it what it is. You know what I mean? It's something we've started, and we really embody what we've started, and on our piece of land, we really do what we're talking about, and we always have.
And you're a perfect example, Swami. You've created this beautiful farm, which we've walked around today. Wow, it's totally amazing here. And you have this incredible regenerative cannabis farm and a beautiful garden, and you're pure certified because you are part of that lifestyle. You understand how it all intermixes, and it's part of health.
Well, we have the gift of this land, and we have wild turkeys and deer who are also part of it, right? And many other animals are coming.
Some rivers going right now with all the rain.
The rivers are roaring.
Nice.
Occasionally the cows get out and from the neighbor, and we get some cow pies.
Yeah, which is good.
But it's been exciting to learn from so many different people. Especially, it's so great for me that I'm learning from all these people younger than me.
Yeah,
and that's just really thrilling, right?
Yeah,
and to say that, okay, now I know about the lasagna style of composting, right? And so now we have these little the Hügel culture, right?
Yeah,
it's Hügelkultur, right?
which means hill culture, because Hügel
mound culture,
right,
culture, right? And so now you said we can pile up the leaves a little bit higher than we have, and we can round them out a little bit larger in order to grow stuff on the sides of each.
Which is really important in
California
because of the drought and because of different water shortages. There's families and farms that are not able to water, a food garden and a ganja garden, and they might have to make a choice. So if you can incorporate, more polyculture into things, you grow things together, you realize, oh, geez, well, a lot of greens like shade.
Right, yeah, so
You
it's
know what
under,
I mean?
under the pot plant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Later on.
Chard, radishes,
Yeah.
lettuces.
You know, I noticed when I had the smart pots or even the other pots, the place that was the greenest was the ring at the bottom right around the pot.
Yeah, that's
right?
where the microorganisms are thriving.
That's where the water was leaking out and so on.
Well, that's it.
And that was the cool. And so I said, okay, well, why don't I go in there with my plants and so on?
And that's important because the roots are going out, and it's the end of the roots that really are uptaking a lot of stuff. Like in a fruit orchard, the best fruit orchard has mulch across the bottom, some kind of maybe even cardboard, like good cardboard, and then some hay or some alfalfa on top of that to kill. You don't want to have any grass competing on the upper surface of the roots. And then right around the outside of that, right around the drip line, you put a manure ring.
And
that
with cannabis,
can
you can
completely
feed your drip line. So
Yeah.
when you're working with compost teas or even with any of your cover cropping, you can pull out some of your rotating cover cropping and make
fresh
sure
life
that
is
it goes
going.
right around the outside of your drip line. And it's amazing. It will just get totally eaten up really quickly. Right
So
there.
mulching and having piling up and mulching around in different layers.
Are you picturing this whole thing? It's like all of a sudden we've got stuff growing all over the place, under here, and so on. Because in the old days, what was it? The corn and the beans and the squash, right?
Yeah.
They'd plant the corn, the
The
beans would
Trinity.
go up, and the shade would make the squash.
Yeah.
But it's the companion planting when you have the cannabis and the other things. So we're going to move into that this year because we just put the garden in last year, and now we're going to expand a little bit and make all of those things happen in and around it.
And it's important this time of year, just like humans and us, when we sleep is the best time to heal. It's the best time that our body heals is with sleep and rest.
Right.
And it's the same with gardens.
Lie fallow.
It's nice for the winter. So think about now. Let's
But
build. Let's build.
I got this feeling a long time ago that they are beds.
Right.
Yeah.
It's a bed, and you tuck it in, and you put covers on
That's
it, and
true.
so on.
Yeah.
Grow cover crop and green manure and grow
all that
mass.
stuff.
And
Yeah.
if you don't,
and it adds up, and you keep adding the
Yeah.
biomass on top. and
Buckwheat,
eventually
winter rye, alfalfa, clover, so many different cover crops that are
Sweet pea.
super simple. Sweet
Yeah,
pea,
yeah.
fava
I've done a
bean.
cover crop many years with the fava beans and
Yeah,
also the
so fun.
vetch and sweet pea and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, but anyway, it's exciting to watch the garden grow and change, and every year it's a little different. And of course, every year there's a different crisis too. But
well, that's
that's our learning.
that's another story
Yeah,
because we just have to wrap up. And so
That's why as farmers we're humble.
Oh,
we
gosh,
do our work and we
that's just saying
Yeah.
nature bats last.
yeah.
Yeah. Honor the plants
Honor the plants and the soil.
and the soil.
So remember, everyone, it's living soil. That's what we're working towards. That's what we're creating, and that grows the best cannabis, and it makes us the most healthy and in tune with our environment. So thank you for smoking with Swami. Thank you, Josh and Kelly. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Blessings.